In this video, learn how you can write resume bullet points that recruiters will love to read and land you that job interview. Hey, I'm Doug, and I'm here to help young, driven professionals just like you to reach their amped up careers by developing their unique personal brands and unlocking the mysteries of resumes and interviews. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe below. Resume bullet points are the meat of your resume, and it's what recruiters will be using to decide whether or not you're right for the job. So you're gonna wanna make sure you have well-written bullet points that are succinct and to the point. So here are my tips for writing effective resume bullet points. My number one tip, and it's the most important tip, is to make it relevant. Resume bullet points need to be relevant to the job opening and tailored to what the job opening is asking for. You wanna basically make it easy for the recruiter or the hiring manager to choose you for the job. As a former recruiter and hiring manager for a Fortune 100 company myself, I'm here to help give you the recruiter's perspective. Basically, the recruiter has one specific job, and it's to fill this specific job opening. They're gonna have a bunch of criteria on the job opening to show what's needed, and they're gonna be looking for those things in a candidate. So if you start writing a resume that has other things that are unrelated to the job opening, then the recruiter's not gonna care. That means that you shouldn't fluff up the resume by putting things that maybe you're very proud of, but if it's not pertaining to the job opening, then it doesn't need to be in the resume. Make sure that every bullet point and almost every word in each bullet point has a reason to be there. That every word, every sentence, every bullet point is working towards getting you that job. To help you better understand why this is so important, let's pretend that you're trying to make buffalo hot wings for dinner and you need a recipe. First of all, chicken wings are one of my favorite foods, so that's why I'm using this as an analogy. So when you're looking for a recipe for buffalo hot wings, you're gonna be looking specifically and searching for buffalo hot wings. You're not just gonna be looking for chicken wings in general, right? Because if you do, then you're gonna get recipes for garlic wings and Asian wings and honey barbecue wings. But what you really want is buffalo hot wings. So if you look through recipes that are teaching you how to make garlic wings and honey barbecue wings, that's not gonna help you. Your focus right now is to make buffalo hot wings. So it's the same thing with the resume. Don't put other things in your resume that doesn't matter to the recruiter at that time. So give the recruiter the buffalo hot wings. All right, tip number 2 is that you should absolutely brag about yourself. Your resume is not the place to be modest. Basically, this is your chance to shout from the rooftops how good you are at your job. And a very important point about bragging about yourself is when you do, you don't just basically tell people what you've done. That's not impressive enough, right? When you brag about yourself, you tell them how well you've done that job. So that's exactly what you want to do inside a resume. Your resume shouldn't be a summary of your job duties or a regurgitation of the job description. Again, looking at the recruiter's perspective, if they're a good recruiter, then they already know what the job entails and what type of work experience is needed for the job. The holes that you need to fill is how well you've done that job, what kind of outcomes you've gotten from working in that position. So for example, pretend you're the recruiter for a customer service specialist. As the recruiter, you should already know what a customer service specialist does day in and day out, what their job duties are. So they do things like answer questions, provide service solutions, send emails, receive calls. So those are job duties that the recruiter already knows what these people should be doing. So if you're the recruiter reading the resume that has just a list of job duties like this, how are you going to choose this candidate over another candidate that's listing the same exact job duties? So as a recruiter, you're looking for resumes that tell you exactly how well they've done a certain job so that you have an idea of how well they're going to do in this job opening. So how do you do that when you're writing a resume? When you're writing the resume, you need to make sure that you're letting them know what accomplishments you've achieved in your job, how you can do the job better, faster, cheaper, more efficient than other people. Or you can use whatever measurement criteria that works best for your job opening. This is gonna allow the recruiter to picture you doing well in that position that they're recruiting for. Again, you're trying to make it easy on the recruiter to pick you. The recruiter isn't trying to fill the position with any candidate. They're trying to fill the position with the best candidate. So show them why you're the best. Brag about yourself. And bonus tip, if you're able to show any metrics with numbers, that makes it even better because the numbers break up all the letters and words in a resume and the recruiter's eyes are going to go right to those numbers. Is this making any sense to you? If so, give me a thumbs up in this video, or if it's not, let me know in the comments what kind of questions you have. My third tip is to be strong and deliberate in your word choice. So I already mentioned in the first tip that every word needs to have a reason to be on the resume. But to elaborate on that, you want to make sure that every word is very strong and deliberate, and that they each tell a tiny little story, each with a beginning, middle, and end that helps the recruiter understand why you're the best person for the job. So you'll want to start that tiny story with a strong and deliberate action word to hook them in. And then you're going to give a little context of your story, which would be your job duties. And then for the climax of your story, it's your accomplishments. This way, as the recruiter is reading your resume, they're really drawn in by each of the little stories that you're telling. So choosing the right action words to hook them into your story is super important. The English language can be pretty complicated because there can be so many words that are seemingly meaning the same thing, but they each have just a tiny little bit of difference in terms of their connotation. So you're going to use that to your advantage by choosing words that have the exact connotation that you want to help tell your story. So for example, if you want to tell a story about you in a leadership position, you're not going to want to just use the word led or lead. That's kind of boring, right? So you want to use words like executed, implemented, directed, orchestrated, influenced. Or if you want to talk about good communication, you can use words like partnered, coordinated, facilitated, persuaded. Each of those words have different connotations and can help you to tell a different type of story. So again, making sure that you have those action words in the beginning and then your job description plus your accomplishments is really going to help to tell that story. So let's look at an example that puts it all together. Here's a basic bullet point that you may have written in the past. Involved with budget setting for a multi-million-dollar project. So that sounds pretty impressive, right? You were part of a multi-million-dollar project. But let's see how you can use the tips that we've talked about today to amp up that bullet point. Implemented the budget plan for a multi-million-dollar project, resulting in a savings of $30,000 in the fiscal year. A lot more impressive, right? If you were the recruiter, you would probably choose this one over this one. I hope that these tips were useful for you. If they were, then you'll want to download my free guide, 6 Simple Steps to an Amped Up Career. It's the only framework that you'll ever need to help you land your dream career. You can find the link to the guide in the description below. And if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe to my channel by clicking right here and click the bell notification so you'll know when the next video comes up. In next week's video, I'm going to be talking about another important part in your resume that's really going to help catch the recruiter's attention right away. I'll see you in next week's video.